Hello friends, David here from Beyond the Kingdoms, and it's time for another Fastpass strategy video for the Magic Kingdom. I've already tackled all of the parks at Disney World with Fastpass strategies, and I've done Magic Kingdom specifically with toddlers and little kids. But now it's time to look at this wonderful park for the thrill seekers. Today's Fastpass strategies are designed for groups traveling with mainly teens tall enough to ride all of the attractions, or even some young adults traveling without children. So I put these suggestions together considering that this group may not prioritize characters or even popular dark rides like Winnie the Pooh or even Peter Pan. But don't worry, if you're still young at heart, there's room for some of these fun and classic attractions. And you know the disclaimer by now, these are just my suggestions. Some of you will definitely have alternative itineraries depending on what your group enjoys most. So let's start by looking at good Fastpass choices for you thrill seekers spending just one day at the Magic Kingdom. Now, I normally tell guests traveling with little ones to give themselves 2 days to enjoy this park, simply because there are so many rides to do and it's the most crowded park of the 4. But with this older age group who may not be adamant to meet dozens of princesses or ride all of the dark rides in Fantasyland, having one day at this park is fairly manageable. Now, depending on the time of year, you may find yourself skipping a few attractions, but my Fastpass suggestions will make sure you get on the big highlights. So the choices here are relatively easy. In a perfect world, I would book Space Mountain and a Frontierland mountain of your choice. I always say that Thunder has a slight edge over Splash. And finally, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. If you're not able to score Seven Dwarfs, I would simply use that third choice on the second Frontierland mountain. If you're staying off property and can't get that Seven Dwarfs Fastpass, I would start your day by rope dropping the park and heading straight to Fantasyland first. This ride's wait times stay consistently long all day. Unlike the other big thrill rides, the wait at Seven Dwarfs doesn't go down much even in the nighttime hours, so it's always best to do it first thing in the morning. Now, if you did score Seven Dwarfs, you may think that rope dropping isn't necessary, but it can still be very helpful. And if you do, I would head straight to Tomorrowland. Since you've got a Fastpass for the land's most popular ride, Space Mountain, I would head straight to Buzz Lightyear first and do the standby line. Then blitz through all the other popular Tomorrowland rides that build up quickly. Therefore, after Buzz, I would do Tomorrowland Speedway and then Astro Orbiter. If you rope drop properly, you can get through these 3 attractions in the first 2 hours of the day easily. Then, I would make my way to Space Mountain with your Fastpass reservation. After your thrill ride into outer space, you can enjoy the smaller attractions in this land, such as the People Mover and the Carousel of Progress. But alternatively, if you want to get a move on, you can start making your way into Fantasyland. I would keep things simple and tour Fantasyland from right to left, and just do whatever attractions you want to do standby. It all depends on your tolerance for the lines. Some easier attractions to do would be Mad Tea Party, PhilharMagic, and possibly even Under the Sea. Then around midday, you can use your second Fastpass reservation on Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. And after that, I would personally then choose to enjoy the quick service version of Be Our Guest restaurant for lunch. And after a nice and hearty meal, I would head towards the west side of Fantasyland. Now, I am almost certain that at this time of day, Peter Pan's flight will be well over an hour long, meaning you may find yourself being forced to skip this. I personally only do this attraction with the Fastpass, but if other things are more important, I simply would skip the ride altogether. I never wait in that standby line. I know it's everyone's favorite, but again, today's video is focusing on the thrill rides. If you want to work this into your plans, it may be best to watch some of my other Fastpass strategies video, where I work in almost all of the Fantasyland rides. But on the upside, if you time this carefully, you can have it that you arrive to the Haunted Mansion around the parade time. If so, this could really work to your advantage, because the Festival of Fantasy Parade draws in crowds from the various lands into the hub, and most attractions experience a small dip in wait times. This means you can enjoy Haunted Mansion in the standby line at hopefully a more manageable wait time. Now, since you've been logically working the park counterclockwise, Frontierland would be your next land to hit. But if you've only got a Fastpass for one of the mountains in Frontierland and it's busy season when the lines are long, I would consider a small detour to Adventureland. You can do standby on rides like Pirates and enjoy smaller things like the Enchanted Tiki Room and Swiss Family Treehouse, all before dinner at Skipper Canteen. Now after dinner, it may be time to score a spot to watch the fireworks. Like I've said before, if you're hoping to get a prime spot at the hub or even on Main Street, I would start lining up 45 minutes to an hour before showtime. This is a very popular show. Now, if a prime spot is not a priority, you can watch the show from alternative spots, which may make things a lot easier. And then, after the fireworks show, may be a good time to return to that back corner of Frontierland to enjoy both of the mountains. If you're riding these at this hour in the night, I always think it's best to ride standby on Splash Mountain, followed by your Fastpass reservation on Thunder. Splash Mountain gets really short wait times into the night because most people don't want to get wet. And if getting wet late at night is not ideal, I have an alternative for you. If you did score 7 Dwarfs with a Fastpass, you can consider rope dropping the park and heading straight to Splash in the morning instead of Tomorrowland. If it's not a very busy day, you can easily do both Thunder and Splash Mountain here with really short wait times. Then you can start the rest of your day at the park in whatever order you like. Let's next look at some choices to make if you're planning a 2-day itinerary. Allowing 2 days at this park means you can really soak in a lot of the finer details at Magic Kingdom. With this group specifically looking for the big thrills, 2 days may feel like overkill, but 2 days also means that you can take nice long meal breaks and even consider leaving the park to a nearby hotel to visit a lounge as well. But let's first look at some Fastpass choices. I would again stick to the same rule of thumb I've stated in the past. I like to combine Tomorrowland and Frontierland together for one big day of thrills, and Fantasyland with Adventureland on a second day. Let's look at some choices for our day 1. I would book Splash Mountain somewhere in the middle of the day when it's really hot, immediately followed by a reservation on Thunder Mountain. Then I would book my third Fastpass for Space Mountain somewhere in the evening hours. This means on day 2, you've got a lot of flexibility. I would certainly make a reservation for 7 Dwarfs Mine Train in Fantasyland, and a more minor ride that tends to build up long lines. Think of something like Pirates of the Caribbean. Other good alternatives here could be Jungle Cruise or even the Haunted Mansion. And finally, your third Fastpass choice can be a freebie. You can book anything that you and your family finds important. Maybe you want to meet at least one character in the Magic Kingdom. Or opt for a popular Fantasyland ride like Peter Pan's Flight. It's your choice. So let's now build our 2-day itinerary. Day 1 is a bigger thrill day, and I would begin in Frontierland. Now with 2 days, you may find that rope dropping is not absolutely necessary. But if you do like to wake up early, you can still rope drop Magic Kingdom and do something quick and easy like meeting Mickey Mouse at the Town Square Theater. Then the rest of your morning can be spent enjoying the smaller details in Frontierland. You can explore Tom Sawyer Island, or maybe even do an early ride on the Haunted Mansion before the wait time builds up. Then around midday when it's really hot, you can use that Fastpass reservation on Splash Mountain, immediately followed by Thunder Mountain. Remember, I always think it's best to get wet first, then dry off. Then you can enjoy a relaxing lunch. If you decide to stay in this area, you can eat at a place like Pecos Bill. However, if your next Fastpass is for Space Mountain much later in the day, you can even consider leaving the park for lunch. This means you can enjoy a restaurant at a nearby hotel on the monorail loop. If you opt for a late lunch, you can even add in a stop at Trader Sam's, which opens around 4 p.m. This means you can escape the busy midday crowds at the park with a refreshing drink away from it all. Then your evening can be spent in Tomorrowland. I would start with your third Fastpass reservation at Space Mountain, meaning that you can enjoy the rest of Tomorrowland at your own pace afterwards. If you're lucky, you even might be able to score a fourth Fastpass on something like Buzz Lightyear. Now, alternatively, you can opt to stay in the park for lunch, do Tomorrowland in the afternoon, and enjoy dinner at a nearby hotel. On my birthday this year, I did just that, and ended my day with dinner at California Grill. I got to enjoy a spectacular view of the fireworks from the rooftop of the Contemporary Resort. On day 2, again, rope dropping may not be absolutely necessary, but if you still arrive at a good time, you can head straight to Adventureland first and ride the Jungle Cruise early, again to avoid those big lines. You can enjoy the rest of this land at a nice slow pace, enjoying smaller things like Swiss Family Treehouse. And I would leave Pirates for last, with a Fastpass reservation around midday, when the wait time can build up to over 30 minutes long. And again, since you've only got Fantasyland left to do, you have the option to leave the park for lunch for a nice relaxing meal. This may be wise on this day, because groups without small children may want to avoid Fantasyland around 1 p.m. I call it the witching hour. I always see toddlers having that midday meltdown in Fantasyland around 1 o'clock when they get really hot. So don't be afraid to stall and venture into this land after 3 p.m. You can then use that second Fastpass reservation at Seven Dwarfs Mine Train and continue to tour the land at your own pace and preferred order. And remember, you've got that spare Fastpass still, so you can book whatever you want and works in your plan. I think Peter Pan might be a good choice. And this would be a great day to enjoy dinner at Be Our Guest restaurant. Another fantastic way to end a day at the Magic Kingdom. And again, if scoring a prime viewing spot for fireworks is not a dire need, you can enjoy Happily Ever After from an alternative spot, such as the entrance to Under the Sea. So there you have it, my friends, my Fastpass strategies for visiting Magic Kingdom, specifically with thrill-seeking teens or even some adults traveling without children. Just because you don't have little ones with you doesn't mean you can't enjoy a fun-filled day at this park. I certainly hope you found these suggestions helpful. And if you've got some strategies of your own, feel free to leave a comment down below. But until next time, thanks for watching, and remember, if you can dream it, you can do it.